Hello there, and welcome to Dream Myths. And tonight, we'll embark on a relaxing journey through Viking mythology, where ancient legends and Norse adventures come to life. Many of you asked me how to support the channel, and you can do so now by joining our Patreon. The link is in the description below. And if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe for more mythology stories. But for now, let's get cozy. Close your eyes and imagine yourself in a great Viking longhouse. The air is thick with the scent of wood smoke, dried herbs, and the crackling fire in the central hearth casts dancing shadows on the timber walls. You can hear the distant howl of the wind outside, a wild and untamed sound that only makes the warmth inside feel more secure. Take a deep breath and feel yourself settling in, surrounded by the echoes of ancient tales. From somewhere far across the fjords, carried on that very wind, comes the deep, resonating sound of a distant horn. It's a call to gather, a signal that a new saga is about to begin. The firelight flickers, the shadows lengthen, and the spirits of the past stir, ready to tell their tale. Beyond the rugged fjords of ancient Scandinavia, where the northern lights dance across the velvet sky, a saga whispers through the pines. This is a mystical realm, steeped in the twilight of legends, a world of both breathtaking beauty and unforgiving cruelty, where the harshness of the environment forged a people of unparalleled resilience. As night descends upon these northern lands, the air vibrates with the echoes of ancient lore. Here, in the flickering glow of the hearth fire, stories unfold not just of fierce Norsemen, but of their profound connection to a pantheon of gods. This is the duality of their existence, a constant struggle against the physical world of ice and rock, balanced by a deep spiritual belief that every storm, every bountiful harvest, and every battle was a reflection of the divine will. The sagas remind us that the gods in Asgard are not distant and aloof. Their triumphs, their failures, and their rivalries ripple down through the 9 realms, directly influencing the fate of mortals. Tonight, our tale centers on a young warrior named Einar. He is not a king or a great chieftain, but a man driven by a personal quest, a hunger for justice that will soon intertwine his fate with the gods themselves. His journey is a microcosm of the Viking experience, a personal odyssey that will become a chapter in the great cosmic tapestry, a testament to the idea that even the smallest mortal thread can have a pivotal role in the grand weaving of existence. Their longships, with their strong keels, cleaved through the icy waters with a hunger for discovery and conquest. From the 9th to the 11th centuries, their voyages carried them far beyond their native shores, from the frozen expanse of Greenland to the unknown wilds of North America. In the whispered tales carried through the winds of time, these seafarers were more than mere adventurers. They were a force of nature, a tempest given human form, etching their destiny across the pages of history. Within this grand cosmic context, their actions on Midgard were far from unnoticed. The gods in Asgard, particularly Odin and his mischievous half-brother Loki, watched closely, their divine politics and rivalries subtly influencing the mortal world. Amidst the great conquests and epic sagas, a smaller, more intimate story was beginning to unfold. Einar, a young warrior whose name means lone fighter, was not preparing for this journey for glory or plunder. In his heart burned a fire of vengeance, a personal feud, a need to wash away a slight that had shamed his family. This deeply personal motivation made him more vulnerable and relatable, a man of flesh and blood rather than a myth. As Einar stood on the shoreline, preparing for his voyage, an unmistakable sign of divine intervention occurred. A raven, Odin's messenger, swooped from the somber sky and landed upon his shoulder. The hallowed bird did not speak, but delivered a silent command, dropping a single ancient rune stone into his hand. It was a wordless directive from the All-Father himself, a stark reminder that Einar's path was not his own, but a part of a greater fate woven by the gods. In the heart of this world of ice and fire, where the rules of mortals are but fleeting whispers, lived two of the most renowned and contrasting gods. The formidable Thor, god of thunder, and his mischievous blood brother, Loki. Thor, with his mighty hammer Mjolnir, was the embodiment of raw power and unyielding protection. He was the thunderous bulwark of Asgard, a warrior of unwavering principle and a force of nature against the gods' foes. Loki, by contrast, a trickster and master shapeshifter, was the very personification of cunning and chaos. His was a mind that saw not battles, but a game of wits, a complex tapestry woven with threads of loyalty and betrayal that proved a constant source of both great deeds and great trouble for the gods of Asgard. Their divine rivalry, often a tempest of clashing wills, was more than a simple sibling spat. It was a cosmic interplay of order and chaos, a necessary friction that kept the very universe from growing stagnant. Loki's mischief was never mere prankery. It was a subtle, profound force that tested the limits of the established order. His every act of deception, every chaotic turn of fate he engineered, was a deconstruction of reality, exposing the hidden flaws and vulnerabilities of both gods and mortals. His purpose was a paradox. He was the bringer of ruin, yet he was also the catalyst for change, forcing the universe to adapt or crumble. It was this intricate intellect that now turned its gaze toward Einar. When the raven of Odin alighted on the young warrior's shoulder and delivered its silent, potent command, Loki's keen mind registered it not as a holy sign, but as the opening move in a grand cosmic chess match. He saw Einar not as a man of destiny, but as a new pawn in Odin's inscrutable and eternal game. And so, Loki decided to interfere, to introduce a new, unpredictable variable. He would not confront Einar with brute force or the fury of a storm as his thunderous brother might. Instead, he would orchestrate a series of cunning traps along the mortal's path, each one a riddle, a psychological maze designed to force Einar to rely not on the strength of his sword arm, but on the sharpness of his mind. It was a divine test, a challenge from the master of chaos himself, to see if the young warrior was worthy of a part in the great weaving of existence, or if he was simply a disposable thread. A strange and unsettling melody now hums beneath the vast cosmic tapestry, a discordant note in the harmony of the 9 realms. It is a song sung by the Jotnar, the colossal giants of Jotunheim, whose raw, elemental power swelled like a tidal wave of primordial chaos, a whispered tale passed down through generations of skalds, speaks of a time when their immense might grew so great it threatened to engulf the very foundations of Asgard itself. In a show of force and contempt, they delivered a demand, a tribute so great it would humble the gods. They sought the very essence of the heavens, the sun and the moon, and with a cruel, mocking laugh, the heart of Asgard itself, the goddess Freyja, the halls of Valhalla, usually ringing with the joyous din of feasting and battle, fell into a state of chilling despair. Even the mighty Thor, with his thundering rage, was powerless against this demand. For the giant's threat was not a challenge to be met with a hammer, but a cosmic blackmail that could unravel existence. It was in this moment of divine paralysis that Loki, with a glint of primordial mischief dancing in his eyes, proposed a solution. He claimed he would build a magnificent, impenetrable wall around Asgard in a single season, a bulwark that would stand forever against the giants. But with Loki's cunning, the deal was never without its twists. The gods, desperate and blind with fear, accepted the terms, unaware they were about to be ensnared in a web of deceit far more intricate than they could ever fathom. Unbeknownst to them, the stakes were now immeasurably higher. For the saga of the gods and the fate of the universe were no longer solely confined to the divine halls. They were now inextricably tied to the choices of Einar on Midgard. The rune stone, the silent command from the All-Father, was not just a symbol of destiny. It was a key, a tool of immense world-shaping power that Loki desperately wanted to possess. The wall was a distraction, a grand illusion to mask his true motive. To obtain the key, he had to see if Einar was a worthy vessel. Thus, Einar now faced his greatest challenge yet, a magical test set by the trickster god himself. It was a riddle of both physical prowess and a profound moral dilemma. On his path, he found a chasm, bridged only by a flickering illusion of Loki, who taunted him with two choices: a path of brute force, a direct assault that would destroy the chasm and the fragile, ancient forest beyond it, and another, more convoluted path, requiring cunning and an act of personal sacrifice. Einar had to choose between the path of the warrior, which would lead to a trail of destruction, and the path of the trickster, which would lead to a new and unsettling understanding of the gods. Einar, having made his choice, stepped into an ancient, sacred grove. Here, the flora was thick, and the moss-covered branches of the trees reached out like old, gnarled arms, softly touching one another in the hallowed space. The storm that had raged in the sky had finally dissipated, and the ancient stars began to emerge, casting a gentle light upon the primordial woods. The world, it seemed, had returned to a state of balance. In Einar's hand, the rune stone, no longer cold, began to emit a soft, warm glow. This light did not merely illuminate his path. It revealed a great and profound truth, a secret long buried. In that moment of profound stillness, Einar finally understood the full scope of his journey. He was not merely a warrior, nor a mortal man driven by a personal feud. He had been a pawn in a complex, divine chess game. But through his choices, by choosing wisdom over strength, cunning over brute force, He had transcended the fate of a simple piece. He had become something more, a new element in the cosmic tapestry, a man with the intellect to see through the schemes of the gods and the courage to act upon his own will. The light from the rune stone spread through the night, telling a wordless story. It spoke of the gods' existence, not as all-powerful beings, but as entities trapped in the cycles of their own natures. It revealed that Loki's solution was not a simple trick, but part of a larger plan, a clever strategy to protect Asgard from the giant's threat without an open battle. The immediate crisis was averted, but the true danger lingered. The echoes of the Jötnar's restlessness and Loki's reckless actions were a silent prophecy of Ragnarok, the twilight of all things, still waiting on the horizon. And as this story now draws to a close, you, the listener, also become a part of it. Close your eyes and feel the stillness after the storm, the tranquility that Einar found in the sacred grove. This moment is not just an ending, but a pause for contemplation. From this night forward, Einar is no longer just a warrior. He is a bridge between the realms, a hero not only of strength, but of wisdom and resilience. He is living proof that even in the greatest of divine games, a mortal's choices can still change destiny. And so we leave Einar in the sacred grove, his path forward no longer a road to vengeance, but a journey of purpose. His destiny, once a flicker of divine whim, is now forever his own, a flame burning brightly and inextricably entwined with the fate of the gods themselves. The tale of Thor and Loki and the cosmic dance they performed stands not merely as a myth of thunder and mischief, but as a profound lesson in the complex and eternal struggle between order and chaos. The Viking myths and the sagas passed down through the ages remind us of a fundamental truth. Even the mightiest of gods, with their flaws and failings, are but characters in a grand tapestry, and even the smallest mortal can play a pivotal role in its weaving. They remind us that destiny is not a chain but a choice, and courage is not always in the hammer, but often in the mind. As the echoes of Einar's journey fade, allow my voice to gently guide you back from the world of sagas and stars. The images of longships cleaving through icy waters and the ethereal dance of the northern lights now recede, replaced by the tranquil comfort of your own space. Take a deep, final breath, and with it, carry the spirit of the Vikings. Carry the courage to face the unknown, the resilience to endure the storms of life, and the wisdom to seek out the hidden truths that lie beneath the surface of your own reality. And as you settle into a deep and peaceful rest, remember this final soft thought. Even in the deepest night, the echoes of the gods can still be heard if you only listen.